the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Bleed Blue Network Podcast. This is a special episode. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this is not Kendall in the middle video, unless Kendall shaved her head and grew a beard. Joe Adams is joining us on the first time for co-hosting on the Bleed Blue Network, and we have a very special guest. We have country music artist and Kentucky superfan JD Shelburne joining us. What's up, man?
Hey, man, glad to be here, man. Go Cats.
I love the hat. I love the hat. Just showed up with it. The background that you have there is also incredible. Before we jump in, tell us a little bit about like what you got going on in the background there.
Yeah, man. I'm in my music studio at my house here in Nashville. It's a bunch of music memories, man. A lot of stuff, a lot of posters fans have given me, photos from big moments in my career, different shows. Man, I've done a lot of stuff. I've been on CMT and Texas Roadhouse Artist of the Month, all the way to actually the newspaper article at the very top was the first article I was ever in at UK. Is their college newspaper, the Kentucky Colonel. Just a lot of stuff. Country Weekly magazine, Kentucky Tourism Visitors Guide I was on the cover of. So just a bunch of stuff. Kind of reminds me. I see it every day. It reminds me why I'm here, and a lot of good times.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So we were kind of talking about it before we hit record, and I think we just have to jump into it. Kentucky with a hell of a win on Saturday. What was weird for me, and it'll be interesting to see what you think. I was not nervous after that first drive. Like the first drive, I was like, "Uh-oh." I think I even tweeted out, "Welp, well, we're gonna get our ass kicked." But like after that, and the defense really settled down, I wasn't nervous defensively. What did you? How were you feeling during the whole game?
Man, our defense is tough. That's actually the first time I actually sit down and watch the entire game. I listen to the radio a lot because I'm on the road with my gigs. And, a lot of my shows are during the game. And so I'm constantly watching from my phone, or I'm just having updates given to me from side stage. But, man, I've been impressed with the quarterback since day one. I know he's I've seen some stuff online. He's not, he's just not polished right now. And I mean, man, he played a great game. I think Barry and Brown played a great game, and Dane Key. Wow, I didn't realize. He's a superstar in the making, man. And,
this year's been impressive, especially with how last year with all the drops he had.
He did, yeah, right. This is kind of a revenge tour, but I mean, there was a point in that game, when I forgot what part of the game it was, but I'm like, man, here we are. We're going to blow it. We're going to blow this game. I saw it coming, and then sure enough, Brown catches that crazy pass and gets us a first down. It's like, wow, man. Like, I text my dad. I was like, are we going to do this? My dad's like, I don't know. And I'm like, we've been in this situation. We deserve this big time win, and we pulled it out. It's unbelievable.
When you think about that 4th and 7, were you like me going, I don't like this? It's 4 minutes left. We got 4 timeouts essentially with the 2-minute warning. It's kind of like Georgia, except for the fact you're not on like the 48. You're not in plus territory. I'm like, I don't like this one bit.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, and we went for it. And man, gosh, it just everything. All the cards fell on our lap this go around. It was so. I don't know if you saw it from the replay, but when Georgia scored that, or when Ole Miss scored that touchdown, they dunked that basketball goal with that UK logo on it. That just burned me up, man. And I'm like, of course they're going to put that up, for
Karma's
a Kentucky football game. And we beat them. I was like, man. And then someone put a GIF of Anthony Davis blocking and I was like, whoever did this deserves a freaking raise, man. This is unbelievable. But man, what a win down there. I would have only loved to have been a fly on the wall in their stadium as folks were filing out, Kentucky fans, just screaming and hollering. And man, what a win. That was a big one. We needed that big time.
Yeah, we definitely need it. Did you see where Mark Stoops were surfing with the players in the locker room? So funny. I was actually going to ask you because I know you're a huge Kentucky football and basketball fan. We got Mark Pope now as well. So if you had your choice where we make the Final Four of the college playoff or we made the Final Four of the men's basketball Final Four, which one would you want to happen
Men's
this year?
basketball Final Four. I've been a UK football fan for as long as I remember, but basketball's even longer. I grew up in a little town called Taylorsville, Kentucky. We didn't grow up around football. We didn't have a football team in middle school, no high school, no Pee Wee football in my hometown. So football really wasn't, it wasn't in our minds growing up. It was always basketball and baseball. And man, mom and dad would take us to so many Kentucky basketball games growing up. And man, I think of all the good times Calipari gave us through the years of the Harrison 3-pointer against Michigan.
I was there.
Oh, man. I get Coach Hill's talking about it, man. The Jorts throwback to the chest, Ohio State against Jared Sullinger, that moment when Ohio State was picked to beat us and Wichita State was undefeated. There's so many moments, man. Just think back to basketball for me, man. Final Four all day.
So I got to tell you, I'm complete opposite. We've been there with basketball. We've done it.
Yeah.
And the fact that if we did it with football, just the things we could say to Tennessee fans would be worth its weight in gold.
That'd be that would be worth it. I'm surrounded by Tennessee fans down here. They think Tennessee football hung the moon down here, and I tell them Peyton Manning couldn't even win a national title, and so they're always talking smack to me next door. So
but T. Martin did.
T. Martin did win a national championship. It's hard to believe. I would have never guessed that on Jeopardy.
Yeah, that was not my favorite moment, but I think didn't they beat Florida State or something like that for the Nationals?
I'm not sure.
It was Nebraska. I think it was Nebraska. I think it was Nebraska.
96, what was it, 97, 98 maybe?
Yeah, as 97 season, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is. It's maybe it was the 98 season. It was the 98 season because 98 was Peyton Manning's first year in the league. So it was 98 season that they won the title, and then the next year FSU beat Virginia Tech in 99. Then FSU got smacked in the Orange Bowl in 2000. Miami won in 01. I can go basically all from there and just kind of go. I can tell you everybody who won it.
Yeah.
Have you been able to talk to Coach Pope since he's been at Kentucky yet?
Actually, this is pretty wild, man. Nobody knows. I'm going to actually give you this info on your show, man. Actually,
oh boy,
Kentucky basketball has actually invited me up to meet Pope. Pope actually was scheduled a meeting to meet me actually next week. So I'm going to Lexington next week to meet the team and meet Pope for the first time. I'm really pumped about it. I didn't really know Calipari that well. I knew a lot of his people, a lot of his handlers and assistant coaches and stuff that, would get me into games and get me into the Vanderbilt game and stuff with the coaches section. But I never really knew Cal. I went to a couple practices, so I'm really pumped that Pope has reached out. That's actually wanting to set up a meeting and looking forward to meeting him and supporting him going forward. So I'll be heading to Lexington next week, see the team. Honestly, this is the first time with Kentucky basketball. I don't know what to expect. I don't really know. I know a couple players on the team, but it's just like it's just unknown right now how good we're going to be. But from what I read online, we may be the best shooting team in the country. It's going to be certainly great to actually see that for once. I know we've had our struggles through the years of hitting baskets and advancing in the tournament. What we live for in basketball season and
shooting.
Shooting.
John Rothstein saw the team today and tweeted out that they look good and that Colin Chandler might be like the big X factor, which I think he's 6'6" now. He grew like 2 inches. He went on a mission trip and grew. Listen, there's a lot of guys who might go on mission trips for an extra 2 inches on the basketball court.
You see online where everybody's like, man, this guy ain't played basketball in 2 years. He's in on a mission trip. And I'm like, man, what's that got to do with anything? It's like, man, he could be playing pickup games over there. Who knows? You just don't get a scholarship to Kentucky for nothing. So,
video of him
really
dunking
excited
on people in like a button up.
Exactly. So Travis Perry, of course, he scored like a bajillion points in high school. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm really excited for Pope and to see what happens. I know he's going to have the fan support like crazy.
Travis Perry, one of the biggest things I've noticed about him, and I've gotten to interview him twice, is just how broad, like you can just see the transformation from a high school player to a Division I basketball player, and how well, like some guys get in, right? Like their body doesn't react. It looks unnatural, but he's starting to really put on like that that muscle and physicality, and hopefully, look, if he could translate on the defensive side of the ball, the kid can shoot lights out. So, and Pope will find ways to get him to shoot the ball in this offense. That's for sure. When are you going to get to make any Kentucky football games this season?
I'm planning on. I really want to make the Louisville game. After beating them at Louisville, Brom last year, that felt great. I think by the time Kentucky football plays Louisville this year, we may be crazy legit. I mean, you think about how much we're going to gel, how better the quarterback's going to get. As long as we stay injury free. I mean, at Commonwealth, man, I can't imagine. Louisville had a loss against Notre Dame, so I really want to make that Louisville game. I haven't been to a Kentucky football game in a few years, and so I really want to make time. My cousin Robbie has been a season ticket holder for years. He's been to like 290 some straight football games with never missing a game. So he's there every time there's a Kentucky football game. He's been begging me, man, come with me. And I've been shooting down every time. I'm on the road, Nashville, and so I'm hoping Louisville game. Can't wait.
I don't know if you saw this today, but Pat McAfee actually started saying the things that some of us have been beating the drum with since the offseason, that this team, maybe Kentucky's legit. Maybe they can actually make the playoffs, because they're starting to say, all right, what they did with the Georgia, that was a fluke, right?
We should have won that game.
Well, even if you look at and look, South Carolina beat our ass in every aspect of the game. Yeah. But if you look at what they did, they beat us off basically three explosive plays, changed the whole game, and they scored on all three. And it was three blown coverages due to the headsets. Right, it was a new thing, and it just half the defense. Now I don't know how that happened, but apparently half the defense ran the wrong play. So that's where, like, when Stoops on that Monday came out and was like, "Yeah, look, I'm not as mad as you would think we are." And just saying, like, we just got our ass blown out by freaking techno Jesus over there, and now we have to deal with this. But then, when you see the tape, and I know somebody broke it down, you're starting to see that now, because they're not blowing. I'm not saying it can't ever happen, right? But they're not blowing the coverages. They're getting to the quarter. They blew up South Carolina's O-line almost the whole game. We forced 4 fumbles and got 0.
Yeah.
Right? It was just one of those days where God said, not today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah. I think, 5 chances out of 6, we'd probably win that football game, but it's just one of those days.
They would not beat us now.
I don't think so. No way.
No shot. So what is kind of like your earliest memory of being a UK fan?
Man, my dad was a high school coach at Bullitt East High School when we were kids. I don't really remember it. I mean, I kind of do. He was in the regional finals one year. I kind of remember going, but Dad coached Rex Chapman in an all-star game. So Kentucky was in my blood years ago. Joby Hall was coming to my dad's practices and seeing one of my dad's former players. And so one of the first games I remember is going and seeing the first player I remember is Kenny Walker, but one of the first games I remember going is when Travis Ford played. Rodney Dent, Andre Riddick, all those guys were playing. I remember going to Rupp. We set up in the nosebleeds, man. Dad brought binoculars. I mean, we were looking down and could see 5 on the back of Ford's jersey. Man, it was just awesome to be there. And that's back when the mall was at Rupp, and you had the Kentucky Corner Store. It was just a whole big family event when we went to Rupp Arena. So, we went to many games. Mom and Dad, of course, I had cousins that live in Lexington, and so we'd go to games a lot. And then my dad, when he was in charge of the athletics in my hometown of our high school, they would bring the barnstorming tour through my high school. So we got to see Farmer and Pelfrey, and then Shepard and them came in '98 after they won the title, and then Ford and them came. So I got to know some of the players a little bit, and then I went to college at UK. So I graduated UK in '07. So I've been a diehard Blue fan my whole life, man. I remember when Mom and Dad brought us home the '96 jersey, the short and the shoes, for a gift one night before the Kentucky played the '96 championship. We actually had the jersey at home. We were wearing it during the game, and Mom and Dad surprised us with it. I mean, it was like a Christmas gift, man. And so I go way back with Kentucky sports, and man, it's etched in my blood forever.
I bet there's a lot of in the driveway shots pretending you were.
Oh man, Tony Delk.
Yeah.
So many, man. So many shots.
How do you feel?
What's that?
Have you ever been the Y on the court?
Never have. No, I've had.
Oh, we got to
I've
start
sang
the
it.
petition. Here we go. I'll do it
I've sang
as
it
soon as
rough.
we get off
I've
here.
never actually done the national anthem at Rupp Arena for a Kentucky game. I've done the national anthem at Rupp for 2 NBA games, one with Anthony Davis, 2 with John Wall, I think. So I did get to do that. It was a pretty fun experience. There was tons of Kentucky fans there, but I've never done a basketball game, so I'm hoping that's what Pope's got in his mind when I
What
go to
about
Lexington
football?
next week. Never football. They played my music at Rupp and after football games because I've actually, which is pretty cool. They would play my song the second like they wrap up SEC Network, and so I've heard my song on TV a couple times, like at the game as people were filing out. So that was kind of a cool moment, but never the anthem at either game. So
Well, we're
hopefully
gonna have
this year.
to fix that, I think.
I know, right?
It was pretty interesting because last year, 2 years ago. Wait, I think this is going on 3 years ago. Man, I gotta tell you, my wife's been pregnant basically for the past 3.5 years, so it just runs together. It's like, now you were pregnant at that point. So we were at Backstreet Boys in Lexington, and Kevin Richardson, who's a huge Kentucky fan, right?
Oh yeah.
He said he's always wanted to do the Go Big, like the Cats chant in Rupp, and he did it, and it like that place was loud.
I bet it was nuts.
I feel like that's something you gotta do, man. Like that's like a bucket list moment.
That would be fun, man. I'm hoping Pope works this out this year. I was hoping Cal would do it, but it never got to Cal to do it. I know Oscar Combs. A lot of people were kind of vouching for me to do it, and but they never called me. So hopefully,
we know some people at the football program. We might have to put in some words there.
Yeah,
and be like, hey,
it can't hurt.
Hey, you got to get this guy. So how do you feel? Because I know you were talking about the '96 team. How do you feel a little bit now about Rick Pitino? I know that in the Kentucky fan base, it was such a touchy subject, right? You know, yeah. I didn't flip the crowd off. All right, Rick. Yeah, you definitely flipped the crowd off. Stop. He went from hated. And I feel like with the Pope situation and over like the last year, he tweets out, go Kentucky football, which
yeah,
I'm all for it at this point because it just burns the ass of Louisville fans, and I absolutely am here for it. Totally what do you think about that? And do you think it's time? Obviously, he's got to, he's retired in the rafters, but do you think it's time to actually bring him back and to actually do like a proper you're back in the family now kind of a thing? Or are you still like, thank you for what you did, you went to Louisville, we just won't hate you as much?
Yeah, going to Louisville kind of stung for me. I mean, I grew up in a Kentucky household. We had a few cousins that were Louisville fans, and every Christmas, every holiday, we were smack talking.
Those are the weird ones at the short table, right?
Yeah, right. We were always smack talking. Then I got in the country music business, and then Louisville fans were down my ears all the time about how Kentucky was overrated with Calipari 5 stars and blah blah blah. And then we beat them every year. So I've been.
What do we beat them in? Wasn't it like 17 out of 20? I went to a Louisville game. I went to Yum Center when Kentucky played Louisville, and Louisville beat us on a last second Edgar Sosa shot. So I haven't had the best luck going to those games. But that was like, wasn't that the NIT team?
I can't remember.
I feel like it might.
Leaving there.
I feel I was at the game this summer at Freedom Hall. So I'm on the court, right, with like all the TBT tournament. And that was one of the most electric atmospheres I've been in. Just the pure hate of those old players, right? Like Peyton Siva and the Harrison twins, like just pure hate. And
man,
I was literally off. Oh yeah, and just L's down everything. That 14,000 people, and there's at least 6,000 UK fans. 6,000 is allowed in there. You could hear "Go Big Blue." That hate was so fun. It made summer really fun, and being on the court for that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. We've had a lot of good battles through the years. I still think Kentucky Louisville basketball is one of my favorite rivalries of all time. They can talk Carolina Duke all they want, but most of these guys on network are ACC fans, so we're not going to get much respect. But I love the Kentucky Louisville battle. We've been doing this
when
for
they're
so
good.
long.
When Louisville's good, it's really heated, and
it is.
I don't think it'll ever beat Cal Pitino because they didn't like each other. The teams didn't like each other. And so you had coaches who didn't like each other that bred the disdain for each other in their locker rooms, which just fed that fire. And I think that decade span, you'll never see a rivalry like that again. I mean, maybe, but Pope's not like that, right? Like, I don't think Pope's going to generate that kind of hate.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what to expect with Kelsey, with Louisville and Pope here. I mean, I'm hoping it's still going to be that fire spark. I'm sure it will be. Kentucky obviously has won most of the games through Calipari era, and that was expected. Honestly, I mean, let's look at the talent roster. I mean, Calipari was bringing in 5 stars. I mean, how much fun did we have through the Calipari? I know the last 5 years in the tournament were kind of, we're kind of sad, but we get everybody's best, and that's just the way it is. But I really hope Kelsey brings a spark back to Louisville. I was really shocked Kenny Payne didn't do well there. But I mean, coaching D1 basketball, it's a whole different game. I mean, it's wild how the competitiveness of it. But I'm really excited to see what Pope does and with Kelsey too. I mean, who knows, man? We may get back. Kelsey may be better than what people think. I mean, I don't know what to expect with him. I kind of knew with Kenny Payne's second year, I thought maybe sure give him the first year. Then the second year, he just kind of left off where the first year. But I mean, Calipari, I mean, we had a fun season, but the season end was obviously disheartening a little bit. But college basketball is so much different, man. It's whoever's hot. There was many games where we weren't, and then Alabama's on top of the world towards the end of the season. Alabama hadn't been good my whole career.
We boat raced them, and we boat raced them here.
And we did at Rupp. So I really hope Pope can get us back there. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Pope just goes nuts the first season and we beat Louisville, we beat Duke. I mean, if we could just win a Champions Classic game.
I'm going to tell you right now, if they beat
last year,
Duke,
we lost.
I don't. Well, that maybe you're just a jinx. I mean, that could be. I mean, you never think about that. But I mean, if Pope were to beat Duke early in the season, this fan base is going to just go. I mean, I don't even want to. Could you imagine? If Kentucky football makes a run and Kentucky basketball comes out of the gates hot, you want to talk about a bunch of unsufferable rednecks talking shit on social media. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
I will be one of them.
We need it, man. I mean, if we could just get back to a Final Four. I mean, I told my wife,
hell, a Sweet 16 at this point would be fine.
No, right. We had our bags packed when PJ Washington missed those free throws. We were going to against Kansas State that took us to Atlanta, Georgia for the Final Four. We were literally had our suitcases at the front door to leave the next morning.
Same.
And then Washington missed his free throws and we lost the game. And
9 of 25, right? Is that right? Something like that. It's pretty bad.
It's like, man, I just want to get back there so bad. And with NIL now, man, everybody's evenly matched. We're paying players. It's like, we're not going to get all the best players anymore. But you know what? If we can just assemble a team that hopefully has this year that can just shoot the ball, play together, have fun, and are talented. 5 stars. Who cares? I mean, look what Alabama did last year. Did they even have a 5-star on the team? It was
yes.
one team. It was one team last year that made the Final Four that had no 5-star. And I want to say, I thought it was Alabama.
Well, yeah, it's no. I think Alabama had a 5-star.
And it's like, man, it's hard to believe it. It's just
it's experience now, right? Like
it is.
The big like I compared what happened with Calipari to what Coach K did, but in reverse, right? So Coach K hated one and done, and then all of a sudden he's one and done everything, right? And he wins the title. Coach Cal never evolved fully in the transfer portal and embracing, older players. I just don't think he ever knew how to do that. And when you were bringing freshmen in, you look at the team last year, we don't even start our 3 best players one time all season. That was where ultimately I thought was Cal's undoing and his downfall. You have to adapt in this landscape. But the interesting thing is, to your point with NIL, right? Just like in football, you can be average one year and be a national title contender the next year. If you have good relationships, maybe someone goes, screw it. I would love a run to, we've got 8 home games and 4 marquees there. Let's give you an extra $2.5 million and we'll bring you more people in, right? Like those are the things that can happen in this. I actually think NIL helps Kentucky football more than it helps Kentucky basketball because the blue bloods are where I think you miss that will get pulled from more, right? Like to your point, you're not going to probably see teams get 5 and 6 5-stars like you used to. You're going to see them get 3. And then you got to fill your roster out. But for Kentucky football, that's totally fine. We'll just steal the leftovers from Alabama, and Georgia, which is still pretty damn good.
Well, I mean, Georgia's quarterback. I'm pretty pumped with him. I think he looks great, and he's athletic and can move quick. And
have you met him?
I have not met him, no, but I've followed his career a little bit. I watched him throughout the offseason, read a lot about him. I didn't know what to expect with him, but man, he's a stud. I think he's going to be great. by the time we play Louisville, man, we ought to be pretty polished. So it'll be fun. I'd love to beat Jeff Brom 2 years in a row, UK U of L rivalry. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah,
all my Louisville buddies would not answer my phone calls.
He's complaining and crying already about last season. So
fun fact, I have Louisville season football tickets because my wife's a huge Louisville fan. So every few years, I get to go to that U of L Kentucky game.
Oh, yeah.
Louisville fans around me are like, "Wait, you're a Kentucky fan?" I'm like, just so I can be at that game. Do you follow recruiting? So I know I've seen you retweet a couple things here and there. So what do you think about Jasper? What about Malachi that we got so far for 2025?
I was pretty excited about that to land those. Actually, my high school went to the Boys State Sweet 16 this year for the first time in our school history. So we played Great Crossing the first round. So we had the number one. Our team won the 8th region and then played number one team in the state the first game of the state tournament. So I drove up from Nashville, and I've been a long-time sponsor of my hometown sports team. So I drove up and supported them, and we played Malachi. And so, man, he's a big guy, and I think he'll just keep filling out, keep getting better. And he just dominated the second half and beat it. We actually had, I think we were up. I want to say we were up a few points at halftime. I can't remember. We went on this crazy run, and then second half they just beat us. And then Jasper, I don't know much about Jasper. I know my friend Larry Ball, him and I have talked. He's followed Jasper and his family a long time, and he seems to be the real deal, man. Carolina wanted him pretty bad, and he just got that swagger about him or something.
He's a third generation. He's a third generation Wildcat. His dad and grandfather both played here.
Yeah, his dad was a star.
So he went to Woodford, and my wife went to Woodford, and I was out of town on a work trip. And when they went to the Sweet 16, and I hadn't been forever, so she took, my son and all that kind of. It was, I didn't go, I wasn't here, but he basically carried that team to the Sweet 16. He's the craziest thing about him is he's not matured into his body yet.
Yeah, I can tell that.
That's the thing. Yeah. This guy. I mean, he could grow a little bit more too, and you puts on a little bit of muscle. I mean, he's got that kind of reckless abandon going to the rim too, that I think people are going to really like. He's going to yak on some people when he gets here. It's going to be crazy.
I can't wait, man. Yeah, he's at that prep school right now, just keep getting better. And I mean, for Pope to pull him from where Carolina and who else was it? Bama after him? I can't remember. Louisville was. I knew he wasn't going to Louisville.
It didn't hurt that we have a master recruiter for two sports.
Yeah.
The GOAT, Vince Marrow.
Yeah.
Vince Marrow is why Jasper Johnson ultimately came here. Him and Dennis are really close. And that was just such an amazing, obviously Mark Pope played a big role in that, but it's just so amazing to see, right, the camaraderie between basketball and football now compared to where it was, we're a football school, we're a basketball. You know what? How about we just be like Florida and go win a national championship in both and just really shove it up people's backsides? Because it's way more fun when that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a all sport shit talker. If we're good, I'm going to do it. It doesn't really matter. Like if there was a cockroach with a U of L logo on it and a Kentucky logo, I'm rooting for the cockroach with the Kentucky logo. I might let you live.
It's funny, man. Everybody on socials knows I'm a diehard Kentucky fan. So if Kentucky loses in basketball, I'll get people I don't even know messaging me on socials. Haha, your team's no good. Blah blah blah. It's like, man, I don't even know you. Like, you can't talk smack to me if we're not even friends. It's like I don't talk smack to you. I don't even know you. It's like, I get a lot of Louisville smack talk. I get a lot of Tennessee smack talk, but it's all fun. I love it. But Kentucky's we've been good for my whole family's life. So I get why people hate us. I get why that everybody wants to see us lose. I get why we get everybody's best. But
yeah,
I'm really pumped for Mark Pope, man. I really think this era is going to be different. I'm looking for a new offense. I'm just looking for everything new. I'm really looking forward to Midnight Madness just to see what we look like.
So let's talk about when you perform, knowing that you're this huge Kentucky fan. I know that you perform in Tennessee. I know you perform in Southern Indiana. So you're surrounded by Indiana fans, Tennessee fans, Louisville fans. I mean, how's that? Does people give you some razz while you're singing, or how's that look?
Sometimes, man. Yeah, sometimes. It depends. Indiana fans. They're always down my back. My father-in-law's an Indiana Hoosier fan, so of course, when Kentucky plays, he's about all Kentucky. But if Indiana play Kentucky, it's all Indiana. So. But yeah, Tennessee especially. I mean, they love I'm surrounded by all my neighbors here in Nashville are UT fans. I mean, there's a few that are Vanderbilt fans, mostly Tennessee fans down here. But anytime they can beat us, just like last year we went to Knoxville and Shepard had a game of his life and we just, beat him to death. And
what a game.
Man, that next day, man, I had my chest out. I had my flag on my front porch flying. It was a good day, man. So, we haven't had the best of luck, as of late playing some, the Indiana game. Of course, we beat them in the tournament, but we lost in the regular season that last second shot. That last second shot, they still talk smack about. I'm like, that same year we won the title.
It was 2000. Yeah, without Anthony Davis, he played 9 minutes. I was there.
Right,
and we beat you by 12. Also, it was impressive seeing freshman Reed Shepard beat up 13th year junior Zakai Ziegler, because I can't believe this guy's still at Tennessee. He's been at Tennessee for like 17 years. What in the world? They're like showing him again this year. I'm like, what are you? How is he still here?
Is he still there?
Yes. Yeah, he's 47. He's still playing college basketball. It's wild.
Wow, I didn't know.
I think he got that lifetime Cal contract for point guard at UT. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, Rick Barnes hadn't had the best of luck either. I mean, he couldn't even win a title with Garnett.
He's been like that his whole career. He's just choked.
I thought he has, and it's tough to win championships, man. I mean, you got to give it to Cal for winning one. We should have won 3 more, but it's just tough to win them, man. I mean, it takes luck, man. Who's playing good? I mean, think about I think back to the Wisconsin Duke or the Wisconsin Kentucky game, man. How did we lose that game? I mean, it's just.
Well, JD, this show's been real fun. We got to wrap it up now, Ty. I'm depressed.
Still don't understand why we lost that game. It just blows my mind. Anyway.
Man, before we wrap up, though, I definitely want to give you a shout-out. I know you recently had your latest single, Cars and Trucks, went number 1 on CMT, so congrats on that.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's been a fun career, man. I've gotten to do a lot of great things, and get to do this for a living, and in the meantime I get to do Kentucky sports stuff and see their games and just become even more of a diehard fan. And now I have a 4-year-old son of my own. My wife and we got married in 2017. She was a Hoosier fan. I brought her into Kentucky. She's now a Blue fan. And my son, he's 4, so he's just now learning the ropes of basketball. So really looking forward to just teaching him just how special Kentucky basketball is and football, and just what it means to be a big Blue Nation fan, and how much fun. Some of my best memories of my life are with my family at Kentucky games, man. And I just never forget it.
I'll send you a video on Twitter. The first time my son and I got to go to a game together, and he was 3, and just seeing him, he's been to games. It was the first game I took him to, right? Just me and him, and he goes nuts. And it's just, man, like, that's what you get to look forward to. It's
can't wait,
seeing
man.
The excitement, right? Like, he's not jaded. He doesn't know about all these heartbreaks. He just knows it's cats, and he gets to scream really loud and eat ice cream, and it's fun. He doesn't get yelled at for yelling there, so it's a good time.
I love it. What game did you take your son to?
Unfortunately, it was Vanderbilt, and we lost.
That means you can't take your son anymore, bro. Sorry.
He's been to other games and won.
They
played Auburn. They played Auburn. I think that was like one of the times they did like a whiteout or something like that, or like they striped, and he was there and they beat him. So he's been to a couple of big games. It was just the first game that I got to take him to. He's been to football games. I just took him he was with me with Ohio. But Kendall was there, so I guess I didn't actually take him by myself. So
yeah,
I got
to ask, is it stressful taking your son by yourself to a game at 3? Was he like, could you not concentrate on the game?
No, I was perfectly fine. I just made sure he had ice cream and popcorn and stuff, and he was
right. That's all you got.
He got to yell, and my in-laws have 4 seats, and we only had 2 of the 4. Like when we went really, so we kind of like he got to move around, and so that was helpful. And he loved it, man. It's fun, and like when I take him to the football game, the very top row upstairs, like I don't like sitting low. I like sitting up because I can see everything. On the very top row, it's kind of covered, and you can just walk around. It's almost like a whole row just without a seat.
Yeah.
Just let him go up there and run around and yell and holler, and he ends up usually like snuggling some random girl. So it's not. He has no chill and no shy. There's a family of like 16 that sit behind us, and he's just running with all those kids. So it's a good time.
I love it, man. I can't wait to take my son. We haven't taken my son. I'm going to plan on taking my son this year, but we want to wait till he was 4. So good to know that you did it at 3. So I'm looking forward to
his first game ever was he was 10 months. That was the first game he ever went to. He was 10 months old.
It if I lived in Lexington, I'd be a season ticket holder. It's just being in Nashville is tough to get home a lot, but I do go to the Vanderbilt game down here every year, and of course it's been all blue ever since we've been. So, but Calipari's given me tickets the last 4 years, so I'm hoping Pope continues that. So I guess I'll find out next week.
Man, so I'm
a good luck charm, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So you got a new album coming out in 2025. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
New album. My last album. I'm out on the road promoting now. It's called Neon Hallelujah. I got to record with the Oak Ridge Boys, and we had a number 1 on CMT. And so I'm in the process of recording my new album. Every 2 years I put out a new album, and so I'll start. I'm in the process of recording. I'm actually going to the studio tomorrow, but it'll come out sometime in the fall of 25. So looking forward to some new music. But it's been a great ride, man. It's built me a great fan base, and it's been great to be able to go to these different places and these college towns and wear my Kentucky hat, and they'll say, "Oh man, you're a Kentucky fan." That's what I get every time, but it's a good time, man. So I'm looking forward to new music. I'll be putting it out probably fall of 25, so it'll be here soon.
And so the studio work, I hear Christmas songs are in your future.
Yeah, I'm actually cutting 2 Christmas songs tomorrow morning at the studio. We have to cut these things usually like August, but I couldn't work it in this August, though. I'll be cutting 2 Christmas songs. I've actually recorded 9 Christmas songs my whole career. So every year I put out 2 in December, and so I actually after the 2 I put out this year, I'll have a full record. So if you like Christmas songs, man, go to my Spotify. I got a collection on there. Check it out. Tell your wives about it.
Yeah, definitely my wife. She listened to Christmas music now. As soon as it starts going, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
My wife too.
I'm going to go back to my tailgate mix.
Jock jams.
Yeah. Oh God, that dates us, JD. We don't want to talk about that. And people are going to be like, what the hell? You remember that? Yeah. They back when they were still CDs.
They were good.
They were. If you remember, the Jock Jams was the orange CD. I still have it. Probably somewhere at home. Good old days, man. Good old days.
Probably worth a hell of a lot of money now.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Man, that's hilarious. So I just want to shout out some tour dates for you. Some of the big ones I saw out there on October 19th. You're going to be in 4th Street Live in Louisville, Kentucky. Another big one was November 9th at Caesar Southern Indiana Volt, which is in Elizabethtown, Indiana. And then I guess this is part of your Christmas tour on December 13th at the Alice Theater in Litchfield, Kentucky. Definitely, you got a lot more tour dates on your website, jdshelburne.com. Before we wrap up, is there anything or any message you want to say to the Wildcat fans?
Yeah, just appreciate all the support through the years, man. I've had a lot of great fans and Big Blue Nation to follow my career and brought their kids in my shows and their families. And so I'm just looking forward, like the rest of us, to see what Kentucky football is going to do the rest of the season and see basketball. Pope's first season, man. I really think it's going to be special. Just excited at what's to come for Kentucky basketball and football. So, look, even baseball, after baseball's amazing season.
They're getting some recruits in now, too. That's crazy.
So it feels good to wear blue, man. I remember back when I first moved to Nashville in 2008. We were just getting from the Gillespie Calipari transition, and man, we were all. I was pretty sad, when Calipari rejuvenated us for many years with John Wall, and so now here we are with Mark Pope. Who would have thought Mark Pope at Kentucky, man? It's just unbelievable. I was a big fan of him in '96, and when he brought home the gold to Lexington. So if he can do this thing as a coach, man, he's going to have a lot of people on his side for the rest of our lives.
Party
his life. Man,
on State Street will be lit.
I will bring my couch.
Just bring a guitar. Just bring a guitar. I'll bring a speaker. We'll just have an impromptu, party or something.
Hey, listen, if we can get back to a national championship and we win with Mark Pope, whatever we need to do, I will be there. So can you imagine? Let's ask yourself this. Let's say Mark Pope, we win a national title his first season. What do you think about that? I mean, think about it. That could happen. Who knows?
I think.
What would we do? What would we do?
Oh, it'd be a huge party. I'd have to probably, if we go to the Final Four, buy some more Rode Procaster portable mics so we could just be prepared to go get more content, because it would be epic. Just the things that will come out of people's mouth would be epic. And imagine if they beat someone like North Carolina or Duke in the process. And that's like who they beat in the national title. It would just be, we'd be insufferable, but it'd be amazing.
We are due for a run, man. It's going to happen. I just feel it. Just to have the fan base back is. My dad was at Rupp when they did the Pope the Pope inauguration. I was in Vegas playing shows.
I was there too. Yeah.
Dad was like, man, it was unbelievable, the energy in the place. He'd never seen it like it before. For my dad to say that, who saw Shaquille O'Neal play his game, he saw Pistol Pete play there. I mean, my dad, for him to say that, he's like, I'd never seen nothing like Rupp that day. So
it was amazing.
Excited what's to come.
I'm sitting here like we're gonna do like a block party. So we do a pregame show on ESPN Radio, and we're gonna do a live block party 90-minute show like right off State Street for Auburn. Now, you're excited about the Final Four. I'm excited to see what'll happen just if we win the next 2 games, because this fan base is jacked. And then you're already going to be, you'll be a week after Big Blue Madness.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You imagine Kentucky wins the next 2 games, does that party alone is going to be great. And then we're going to do it for Louisville. Don't let us win to Louisville. Don't let us go into Louisville 9-2. I will become Pat McAfee 2.0 of Lexington. It will be the dumbest thing in the world. Hey, listen, I've been telling people and pounding the drum. This is a playoff team, and I think they had a stinker, and I think they got the stinker out of the way. Hopefully, I'm right about that. And I think, I still think this team. I've been around I'm around the facility. I'm around the guys a lot, and they've never stopped talking playoffs since game 1 to game 5. They're still talking about it. That's their goal. Even when we lost South Carolina, Zion Childers is like, it's 1 game. We can lose 2 or 3 and still make the playoffs. That drive, that's why I think this year's different, right? Like, people have that. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens the rest of the season.
And we got,
championship winning defense.
Harrison's back the next game, right?
Yeah. Him and Nichols, I think this is this is a great time for a bye week for us. And we get 2. This is a great time for a bye week. Let the offense start to click. Lick our wounds, and hopefully we come out and just beat the doors off of Vandy in 2 weeks.
I'm sure we will, yeah. What a way to end it, just a 2-week rest of beating Ole Miss on the road, man. I mean, you can't set up a better scenario going into the rest of the season. So
Kentucky's won the last 2 top 10 road games, and they're 2-1 in their last 3 top 10 games.
I think I saw where Louisville's I think Louisville is 0-9. Are they? I don't know if their last top 10 on the road they've lost or something.
When was that? 7 years ago? I mean, that was funny. Like, Louisville fans were saying, Kentucky plays a top 10 team this week and they're worried about us. And I responded, I was like, it's a little different when you play 5 in a season, not once every 5 years, guys. Chill out. We're used to this. We see it every other week. This is new to you. We get it. It's fine. So, JD, man, we really appreciate you jumping on the show and talking to us about Kentucky. And anytime you want to come back, man, let us know. Maybe after a big win or something like that, we'll have you back.
That sounds good, man. I appreciate you guys. Go Cats.
Yeah.
Go Cats.
Well, before we go, hang on. Give everybody a shout out where they can follow you on social media. I almost forgot it like a big dummy.
Yeah, follow us, jdshelburne.com, also Facebook at JD Shelburne. Google my name, you'll find links, TikTok, Spotify, Twitter. I do Twitter all the time during games, so that's kind of my lifeline to the fans, instant sports info. So follow me. I appreciate you guys, man. As always, hope to see you guys in a playoff and a Final Four, man. That would just make my year.
Yeah, appreciate it, JD. And thanks, everyone, for listening. Go Big Blue.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.